Welcome to Backyard Cigars. And I just wanted to show you this cigar before I start peeling off some of the layers here on the band. You've got this very large band. I'm sorry you're seeing it in reverse, but this is the Aging Room bin number 1 C major. And it says Aging Room, and you're going to see it obviously in reverse because I haven't corrected my phone lens. And it says handmade, made with select aged tobaccos. And we're going to get into that later in regards to how old these tobaccos are. This is 5 1/4 by 54 in the Robusto size, Robusto shape. And this is, of course, by none other than Aging Room Boutique Blends, Rafael Nodal and Jose Joshi Blanco. I'm going to clip it and light it, and then I'll get into it a little bit, and I'll be back to tell you a little bit more about it. So I haven't lit it yet, and I just wanted to show you. Just slides off, and then you've got the Aging Room band there. Very elegant writing, very simplistic but yet elegant, right? That's what you want in a cigar. It's not overly done. It's just a nice band. And this cigar it's close to my heart. I really love this cigar. This is one of these cigars that I smoked a lot of in the past, and I just can't wait to tell you about it. But obviously, if you've had it, and you know, let me know what you think. I've just only clipped it, but I'm gonna light it and get into that first inch before I come back. Okay, so this cigar has been in my humidor for nearly 2 years. That's right, since 2019, and it would be 2 years exactly in probably 2 or 3 months. What am I shaking right here? I'm shaking my cigar glue, because sometimes this happens. You get a cigar that's been in the humidor for a while. I mean, it was in the humidor for about, at about 66, 67 RH for those 2 years. And this is an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. I believe this is one of the first lines or first cigars that Aging Room actually used an Ecuadorian Habano on. And the binder and the filler are Dominican. I believe the filler is Dominican Habano. This thing that I'm going to do next is necessary to ensure that my smoking experience isn't hampered. Now, you probably can see that right there. Now, this is a beautiful cigar wrapper, Ecuadorian Habano. They don't really list the age of the cigar wrapper, but I'm going to get into the age of the binder and the filler in a minute once I do this. And as you can see, I was just smoking it, and then I just heard that little, snap, that little give, and I was just hoping it wasn't a crack, and thankfully it's not a crack. Now, there are different ways you can apply this, right? You can, obviously it comes with a little brush. You can use the little brush, or you can put some on your fingers, and you can do it that way. Between my thighs there, and then I just delicately, you don't want to damage the leaf anymore. You can do this with your fingers, right? Now a little bit of leaf got on this, and then just on the outside part, I'll just give it a little go here, just because, and boom. You literally can wait about, I would say, about a minute. Some people wait 2 or 3. Not really necessary, but definitely helps. But I would say about a minute, especially in this spot. And if you can see where it's at now, you can even clean it up with your fingers like this. That's what cigar rollers do. They will use this glue, and they will just right off your fingers. And now, as you can see, once it dries, you'll see a whitish residue on it, which is perfectly fine. and totally organic. Let's see, where can I? You can't see it anymore, basically. What you will see, and I'll show it to you as I continue to smoke, and it's actually ready to smoke already. It's dry, so sometimes less than a minute, depending on your ambient temperature. Put this back down, and what you're just gonna see, you're gonna see that white residue, which is, it's not pleasant to look at, but it's smoking, you know, and it's safe. You don't have to really worry about it busting open anymore or anything like that. And to be quite frank, I probably could have been a lot neater, and you wouldn't have seen any changes to the cigar's appearance had I been neater. But I just want to get to smoking, so I wouldn't call it the sloppiest of jobs, but I could have done better. Well, quit yapping, Jose, and tell me what this cigar tastes like that is so close and dear to your heart. So close and dear to your heart, but you haven't even talked about it. Look, guys, it was released in 2014. Jose Joshi Blanco and Rafael Nodal are owners of Aging Room Boutique Blends. Joshi Blanco had some very old Dominican tobacco that he had kept from when he started growing back in '97. So by some of the research that I did, a lot of the tobacco that he used for these cigars is from 1997 to 2001. So let's just say 2000. The majority of it is 2000. When this cigar was released in 2014 and put out, the filler and the binder was 14 years old. Now this is before rolling. This is how old the tobacco was before rolling the tobacco. Before rolling the cigar. The cigar was released in 2014. 14-year-old tobacco filler and binder. That's old. That's pretty old. So what you do taste when you start smoking the cigar, you get a little bit of cedar, you get a little bit of that wood, and then you get like a little bit of that barnyard flavor that you get from aged tobacco. Only this one has a little bit of a sweet hint to it, and then you've got that cedar and that woodiness. And as I'm looking at the patch job that I just did right here, I'm so ashamed, but nonetheless, it's about the enjoyment of the cigar. So Joshi Blanco, who is, just a cigar man through and through, a cigar man. I mean, he's a farmer, he's a cigar maker, he can market, he can do it all. He comes from a long line of cigar men. From Tamboril in the Dominican Republic. And his farm, Tabacalera Palma, which is it's on my bucket list. It's just one of these farms I gotta see. I gotta get out there, and I gotta get out there safely. So, this farm, which was handed down to him from his father and his father's father, it was established in 1925. His family was amongst the first families growing tobacco in the Dominican Republic. But I don't want to get too much into Joshi Blanco's history, because I want to save that for when I do a review on one of his actual, cigars that he works on for himself. This is something that he does in partnership with Nodal. And so much of his hard work and his tobacco goes into this that I can't avoid mentioning him. So I have to mention him. But forgive me if I don't go too deep into it, because I want to save it for another day. But I will scratch the surface and just say this. The man is an amazing cigar guy. Cigar man. He really puts his heart and soul into everything he does. And he follows that age-old advice that a lot of legendary tobacco men have have talked about, which is stay consistent with quality, and you'll always be ahead of the game. You'll always be at the top. That's basically it, and that's what he does, and that's what he focuses on. So, having said all of that about Joshi, and of course, Rafael Nodal, I mean, this guy knows his blends. He can work with Joshi, and they can go over it like two masters and just go back and forth over what's going to really make a blend work. If you were to look inside my humidor, and perhaps you've had a couple of peeks into it from past videos, what you're going to see is that there are a lot of aging room cigars in my humidor and in my zip bags, because it's just one of these brands that, yeah, they're boutique and everything. They're not boutique like Ezra Zion or anything like that. They make more cigars than that, but they're boutique in the sense of sometimes they'll release something and you can get it for a number of years, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get it in the long run. You run out of Padrones, you don't have to worry. You're going to be able to get more Padrones. But you run out of certain lines in the aging room, and it either becomes harder to get a hold of them or more expensive. And then ultimately they tell you, like in the aging room Quattro series, that eventually they will run out of this tobacco and they won't be able to make this blend anymore. That scares me. So I stock up, and I have a lot of aging room cigars in my humidors for that reason alone. Now, sure, I've got a lot of other brands as well that I feel that way about. But with the aging rooms, there's just something distinct. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. Everybody brings something to the table, really. And I appreciate just about everything that I smoke, especially the older lines that produce consistently good cigars. We know that's important, to be consistent. So with this brand, I think they follow that same model: be consistent, with high quality, and it shows. I mean, they won Cigar of the Year award, I think, in 2019 with the Maestro. I don't know if they've won it before, but they've ranked in the top 25 so many different times. They have done so much work with their Nicaraguan tobacco, but today is not about Nicaragua. Today is about DR, the Dominican Republic, a place that I also hold dear in my heart because I have a fondness for Dominican tobacco. I like, Cuban tobacco, Nicaraguan tobacco, and even Puerto Rican tobacco, and all of those other funky, weird tobaccos that I've tried have been pretty good, whether it be Panama or Peru, or they all offer something, and they're cool. But when it comes to DR, I don't know, I get nostalgic. I do. And when I light up a cigar like this, where the binder and the filler, select age 14-year-old tobacco, Dominican Habano. Some of this tobacco, I believe, is from the Cibao Valley. Whoa, man, I love the Cibao Valley because there's just such extremely good tobacco coming out of that region. And you want to talk about how I say mystical soil about Cuba and stuff like that? Listen, there's mystical soil in the Cibao Valley. And I really do feel that at one point or another, I have to run my fingers through that dirt before I die, because I've got to feel that. Joshi, he talks about how in his farm, La Palma, that the soil is so fertile, he doesn't have to add much fertilizer to it. Not much at all. So, he's got those things going for him. He's got the controlled irrigation, which a lot of people have, of course. And he's growing 50% of the farm, is growing olor. This guy, look, I'm going to shut up right now. Let me tell you about what I'm tasting about the cigar. It's got a nice rich aroma. The draw is good. I'm getting a nice toasted wood, and then I'm getting some bready notes, toasted bready notes, sort of like when you wake up in the morning and you put some toast in the some bread in the toaster, and then it comes out and it's got that nice smell, and then you just put a nice thin layer of butter over it. It's got that kind of smell and that kind of flavor. Get that? Now I'm getting that sweet barnyard flavor again. So look, some people say, well, yeah, I can take a nice cigar like that and put it in my humidor and leave it for 10 years, and I've got myself some. It's not the same. Let's get that straight now. It is not the same. This tobacco was aged 14 years before it was rolled. Okay? And, we can say that it was probably, let's just say it was 13 years, because they may have rolled the cigar a year or two prior to the release in 2014. So if they rolled it in 2000, if they rolled the cigars in 2012 and then put them in some cedar rooms for 2 years, let's just say, or a year or two, it was 12 to 13 years old when it was rolled. That's an extremely long time to keep tobacco and then to put it out on the market. It's rare. And I find this to be a rare gem because, if you're that curious, this cigar is literally under $15. So we're not talking about, a $30 cigar. Don't need to be a $30 cigar. Could be, but it don't need to be. So it's really just an interesting cigar. It's not, I wouldn't call it overly complex. It's just a really nice cigar that you can enjoy, and at times you get some complexity from it because you've got this aged tobacco that does affect everyone's palate a little differently. What you're gonna pick up from it, from person to person, it's gonna be a little different. Smokes like a dream. I'm gonna take a little bit more time with this, and I'm gonna come right back. Now on this 67-degree day with some 8-9 mile per hour winds, I'm just enjoying the day itself and the cigar that goes with it. Normally I smoke this cigar in the hotter weather. I don't know what it is. It just kind of goes with that whole nostalgic feel that I get when I'm smoking the Dominican tobacco in the heat of the day. But I made an exception because I really wanted to share this with you guys. And for a moment, I said to myself, do you really want to share how much you love this cigar with YouTube viewers, whether it be subscribers or anyone just clicking onto the channel? Then people might already know about this cigar and be like, yeah, we know that already. You don't need to tell us that. But other folks might be like, maybe I should go pick some up. And then they'll be less for me. But then I said, don't fool yourself, Jose, and don't flatter yourself. Not that many people watch you. I think your secret will be safe, and it will be shared with the select few viewers that and subscribers that watch your channel, and they'll get to enjoy it, which I do want you guys to enjoy it. I want you guys to enjoy it. I don't know about everybody else, but no, I'm just kidding. This is really just a good cigar that hopefully will stick around for a long time. And while it's not a budget stick in any way, it offers it's worth every bit its weight in gold, as they say. It really is. Just some sweet woody hints, that sweet butteriness, that toasted bread, the toasted wood flavors, the barnyard with the sweetness attached to it. and it's gonna be this way. This is medium strength, medium body cigar, okay? But it's gonna, those flavors that I described to you right now, they're gonna be that way from start to finish for the most part. Now, granted, I did age this. This was in my humidor for 2 years. What difference can I tell you? I mean, the first time I had this cigar, I think I had it in either late 2017 or early 2018 or mid 2018, something like that. And the one thing that I do notice about this cigar, having been in the humidor for 2 years as opposed to when I first smoked it after maybe a couple weeks in the humidor, is that there's less of that cedar. Less of that cedar, and it's a little less sweeter, and a little bit more of the barnyard. Okay, those are the differences that I how do I remember that? I just do. But I'm sharing that with you. I'm being completely honest with you. That those are the subtle differences that I've picked up. Now, having just said that, which one do I prefer? I'm going to tell you I prefer fresher, as opposed to the 2 years aging on it. Why? Because I want that extra sweetness on it, and as much as I like those barnyard notes, and especially this barnyard that's coming in kind of sweet, I like it in certain doses, and more so in Cuban and Nicaraguan tobacco than in Dominican tobacco. In the Dominican tobacco, I prefer not to age it as much because really it's not a full-bodied cigar. So it's not a cigar that you would really want to age for a long time. Again, it's not the Dominican Republic can't, and especially in Tamboril, can't make a really strong cigar. They can. It just so happens that these cigars, that the cigar's filler was already ancient before the cigar was even rolled. So medium strength, medium body, very satisfying and very fulfilling at that level. But had I left this in the humidor for another 2-3 years, I don't think that I would enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it when I first smoked it after having it for just a few months. Again, I'm still thoroughly enjoying it now. Even as I speak, I can tell you I am enjoying this experience. It is a decent burner. It doesn't burn too fast, doesn't burn too slow. Like I said, it could don't Habano wrapper. I wouldn't smoke this in cold weather or in chilly weather. I would definitely smoke this in the warmer weather and definitely get the full appreciation of all of the flavors that you've got going for it. But yeah. You know, some mild, light spice in the finish just now. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm going to just smoke a little bit more, come back and wrap it all up, and then I'm just going to sit back and, in total silence, just kind of sink into this cigar. Guys, I just want you to see this. It hasn't dropped the ash very often. It has held the ash very well. This is a cigar that starts off with an intense rush of cedar with wood notes. It's very woody. It does have some mild transitions. Not overly complex, but it can be complex at times depending on your palate. It has very old tobacco in the filler and even for the binder. So you're going to get those barnyard notes, but these barnyard notes are going to be a bit sweeter. They're going to have more of a, they're going to be sweeter if you haven't aged it in the humidor for a few years. Let's put it that way. You're going to get some light spices in the finish as you get to that second, third, but going back to that beginning of the cigar, you're going to get the barnyard notes. You're going to get some toasted bready notes, buttery notes, toasty sweet wood, and you're also going to get some sweet notes that are attached to the barnyard flavor. The barnyard flavor isn't really overwhelming in any way. Even now that I've aged it for a little bit, it's smooth and it's kind of sweet, but less sweet as opposed to when fresh. And well-behaved burn line, very good, consistent draw. Just a just a pleasure and a treat, guys. I couldn't say that anymore. I mean, it's just really for me a cigar that I hold dear and close to my heart. And this has been the Aging Room bin number 1, C major. So thank you folks for watching. Till next time on Backyard Cigars.